Welcome to our weekly market analysis. I hope everyone is enjoying their weekend. This analysis for June 1, 2024. It's end of the May and new month. What we're going to look at in our the next 20 minutes of analysis, we will look at the upcoming major event, which is a non-farm payroll, the employment next Friday. But also we look back to the inflation number, the PCE numbers, which came out on Friday and made Friday a pretty volatile day. Unbelievable finish to the day, which we will talk about that. Also, it was end of May. So as always, end of the month, we will have our the report and what the markets did for the month of May and also year to date. Also, I want to be aware that just the information that Apple has its own special conference June 10th to 14th. And I think this is one of the most crucial times in Apple's last few years. So pay attention, especially regarding the AI and the uses of AI. And if there's anything new, major news could come out of that. And this is an important thing. It's just, less than 10 days left. Also, we will see that S&P and Dow, there is a divergence and what is going on with the markets. Plus more, and we will look at the stock of the week, the trades of the week. But I hope you especially enjoy our emerging markets and our lessons of the week. I'm hoping that you get some good information out of those. For now, let's start with the economy. So last week, the major news was the PCE report, as well as I would say the personal spending. So let me spend a little time on this. As you can see, the core PCE came better than the markets expected. They were looking for 0.3%, and it was up 0.2%. So that's positive. But still, it is up. So, till we get something negative, we still in this increasing inflation when we look at month over month. So basically, we want to pay attention that, that we are not out of woods yet. So markets, that's the reason there was a sell-off. On the positive side, in a way, negative news becomes positive news. The personal spending was down. So that shows the slowdown of the economy, at least for now. And personal income came in line, so there was no surprise there. So we are looking at collectively, and market is trying to digest that. As far as upcoming this week, I put this down some international news. I think it's very important that you want to pay attention, well, for our northern neighbors, Canadian government. The Bank of Canada will come with their rate statement, and the split rate is 4.75%. But also, I think you have to pay attention this Thursday for the refinancing and monetary policy statement. Again, the idea is in upcoming weeks is ECB gonna reduce the rates, and which affects the dollar as well as euro. But the main news, economic news for this week, is our employment change in United States. And of course, Canadians also have unemployment rate is the non-farm payroll. Well, of course, I will pay attention to the average hourly earning as well. And where do we stand? And as far as how the economies, the growth of the economy, and that will give a little more data for the Fed. As always, we look at the yields, and we see the inverted curve here, and we see that we still have the spread to the negative, although the long term is moving higher than 30 years, higher than 10-year. So what kind of a market did we have? Well, we've had I believe 6 weeks in a row, and we broke that finally. The markets needed a breather. It was a wild ride on Friday. So what we see is the Dow it had actually on Friday, it has its best day since November 2nd, 2023. But it was down almost 1%. Nasdaq was 1.1%, and S&P was down 0.5%. In commodities, gold was up 0.5%. Copper, uh, after all the parabolic move, was down 3%, and crude oil was 0.8%. So we see from the 17th of May high of Dow, we are down about 3%. And S&P from the May 21st is down only 0.82%. And NASDAQ hit the all-time high on 28th of May, and it's down 1.67%. Collectively, the markets were down 0.58%. And for the whole week, generally, most of the market participants were down, but you see the value, whether it's large cap or mid value and small value, they were up. There's a rotation going on as well, and we will see in the stock of the week what's happening. There's this divergence going on. We will see it in the charts, what is happening between the Dow and the S&P, but as well as NASDAQ, inside NASDAQ, what is happening, and also S&P. You know, we look at NVIDIA and then Microsoft, Google, and then we had Intel and Dell and Salesforce. They were all down big time. And on the other hand, we see that NVIDIA had again continued this nice move, so it kind of saved again NASDAQ and S&P. So basically, there is rotation. We also see that on a weekly basis, most of the sectors were up. So having said that, let's take a look at the sentiment. We see that we are finally getting close on the bullish side to the averages on AAII. And then on the negative side, though, we're still a little less negative, or the bears are still less than average. Fear and greed is also in neutral, and it has been for the last couple of weeks, but this is the Citigroup panic euphoria is still at 0.42. So we are still in the euphoria zone. So what happened on Friday? Big news, big volume, end of the month. As you know, we talk about how last day of the month is generally positive. We did go hit that 50-day moving average. We bounced back. Again, I want to pay attention to this 53.03. So that has been a magnet. We just came back and closed right around the 8-day exponential moving average. So that's interesting. I believe in, I think one of the news was about President Biden saying that, you know, Hamas has agreed for the negotiations and agreeing with the ceasefire. So I believe that could have played a role, but also the market was digesting the PCE and as I mentioned about the personal spending, those numbers. So anyway, so that's where we start. So we are at 53.03. I still think that's important. Generally, first day of the month is positive, the more money is coming in. But we are in some inflection point. You can see if we break above this, then things could get interesting, but the internals are not giving us a lot of positive in that sense. So we want to watch that. We also see that on the 18-day moving average, we are right flirting with it, but the momentum is actually down. The MACD has crossed. And when we look at NASDAQ, you get again, that's the big move. Where are we? We are right on 18-day moving average. And again, the momentum is down and MACD has crossed. When we look at the Russell, which actually had a good day, after bouncing off its 100-day moving average, we've been talking about that, it is oversold. So it is showing signs of power, but it is under 18-day moving average, and MACD still negative. And then the Dow, we compare with all the other ones, we see that divergence of we are below the 100-day, we are below the 18-day, we are embedded on the downside. Of course, it was a unbelievable turnaround on Friday after hitting the Bollinger Band, but we still, as I mentioned, we are below 18 and 100-day moving average, although it was a huge move. I mean, if you would have walked, let's say, lunch hour and said, I'm done for the day and come back, it would have been amazing surprise for you. The transportation, we also have talked about that as a leading indicator. You can see how it at 100-day has been a big resistance. We did go outside the Bollinger Band. We just turned up and oversold, although MACD is negative. So we had a nice 3 days after being outside the Bollinger Band, but we're still under 18-day moving average. We like the confirmation. The VIX had an interesting move. Did go, broke above 18, but could not hold above 100-day moving average. And of course, Friday was a big reversal, and you can see how we were overbought. So we are right on the 18. If we continue, the momentum goes down, then we will go hit the Bollinger Band at the lower edge, which that's bodes well for the of course S&P and from the bullish side of point of view. The VVIX holding again on 18 could not break above the 100-day. When we look at the yields, that also gave us again the idea that right now we are overbought, so that's good news for the yields going down. But what usually happens, generally, what happens if you go outside the Bollinger Band, and if you are overbought, generally we like to go to the 18-day moving average, and that's what we have. We did almost Friday. So if we reverse, then this reverses, then we will go and the Bollinger Bands open up. If not, we break the under 18, the next natural place will be the next support, whether it's the Bollinger Band or 100-day moving average or 50-day moving average. The 10-year is the opposite. As you can see, we did go outside the Bollinger Band. We are oversold, so that's good news. And the same thing on the 30-year. You can see we are oversold, but that 18-day again gives us a resistance. As far as the dollar, again, I think Thursday is important. We want to watch euro, what the policy will be. So there's two things you have to think about. If the euro cuts the rates, what will happen? Well, would that stimulate the economy? So that will bode well for euro. Or does the central bank know something that there is, again, slowdown in the economy, there's recession, so which is negative for euro. On the other hand, if the rates go down, well, there's the interest rate differential between euro and dollar will be more, so that will favor the dollar. So the dollar is, you can see there's a reason that we are hugging that 18-day moving average, and really it's a neutral. You can see Bollinger Bands are coming close together. You see the width has come down. So we are awaiting what will happen on Thursday. And the same thing with euro, as you can see, hugging that 100-day moving average, although momentum has been going down. MACD is pretty flat. Gold has been interesting, and finally, as I said, we've had an amazing move. So we are in a more of a consolidation mode. We are oversold. MACD has been negative. So after we had this big move, it has come down, and we are at 2340, almost 8. So this is more of a consolidation. The same thing with silver, which has had a huge move, and now we're still holding above that $30 zone and above the 18-day moving average, although we are overbought and MACD is about to cross. So we'll see if this represents double top. So we need to hold that 18-day moving average. Otherwise, overbought, breaking through that, and we will go down to, in this situation, about $27 or so. Copper has had a big move. It was, again, we talk about the China story, supply. So I think we overdid that. And now we've had, again, a lot of profit taking. And basically, we are watching what's going to happen again with the consumption in China, with tariffs, and basically also more of a technical sell-off. So in this situation, momentum is down. We are oversold. So we like to hold and have a turnaround. If not, we will get to that lower edge of Bollinger Band. And Bitcoin, again, is a consolidation. We are holding that 18-day moving average. We talked about Ethereum a few weeks ago with the support at 100-day moving average. We've had a nice move. Did go outside the Bollinger Band and then came inside. We're just consolidating. We still are embedded. MACD still positive. And of course, we are awaiting and about Ethereum ETFs, the cash ETF. So we'll discuss that in our ETF, our trade of the week. So, but that has had a nice move since that support. Now, crude oil has broken below that 100-day moving average. It's only one bar, so be aware of that. We always need the two confirmation and the Bollinger Bands. Look at the width of the Bollinger Band. So we are in a indecision consolidation. So OPEC is meeting on Sunday. They usually come up with this political, oh, we're gonna cut the rates, but then all those members, they never hold their or they keep their word. So they just more political, but we want to watch that. And so we'll see if we will reverse above that 100-day moving average. The other thing we've been talking about is the gasoline. So generally, when there's a driving season, which is Memorial Weekend, gasoline likes to go up towards end of the May. And we started making that move in March, but then you can see there's a big sell-off and we've been going down. Well, it's good to have election years, and the party in power. So in this situation, President Biden, what has he been doing? Well, he's been making sure that there's 1 million barrels of gasoline has been bought to keep the prices down. So they have the right, and they have done that. So that's one of the reasons that they made sure that as far as pushing the prices down. With the expected move, again, we want to see interesting times. As you can see, on Friday, unbelievable move. We did go outside the expected move, and look where we finished. First of all, we finished down, almost unchanged, but this was a huge move. And from technical side, that's positive, but we do have some resistance ahead, like a 10-day and 8-day moving average. So, but again, you can see how this expected move was respected. The same thing on NASDAQ. We did just right on that lower edge of expected move. Russell was the stronger one, hit that lower edge of expected move, bounced back and was up a little bit. And look at Dow, huge move down, big day up on Friday. Where are we? On the lower edge of expected move. Also, when we look at the TLT, the bonds, right on the edge of expected move. We also see that gold did go outside and then came inside this expected move. And then crude oil, I wanted to have it this week. You can see we did go outside and then we finished lower for the week. And then on the financials outside, and then we came back almost unchanged. Energy stocks, they had a very good day. And look at this big move on Friday. So they were the ones who went outside the expected move. Now, as far as our end of the month, I always like to do this every month to look at how the markets have performed. And in this situation, you see cocoa year to date still is a big winner, 155%, followed by orange juice and silver, coffee, copper, Nikkei. And we've talked about a few of these, and then and gold and S&P. So that's the futures. The worst ones have been palladium, VIX, lumber, and Japanese yen, as well as natural gas. When we look at the currencies or in the Forex, we see the big winner, of course, has been the Bitcoin. And other than that, we see that the British pound yen and as well as US yen, they have been the big winners. As you could see, Japanese yen was a big loser. And also dollar Swiss franc was a pretty good year to date. As far as our sectors, I wanted to look at year to date the best performing sectors have been communication services, technology, utilities, financials, and then the only one in the negative is the real estate. And for the week, you can see that we only had 3 sectors which were negative this week, and the rest were actually positive. So technology was down, industrial was down, and healthcare, but utilities still performing well. So, and then energy had a very good week. As far as the industries goes, I want to see what was the best performing year-to-date industry, and it is utility, independent power producers, followed by semiconductors, computer hardware, marine shipping. So you can see utilities also, renewables are 5th, and copper is 6th. When we come to the worst performances industry-wise, it was pharmaceutical retailers, broadcasting, auto manufacturing, real estate, and REITs and recreational vehicles. As far as the ETFs, so far, when we look at for the month of May, which was really good month, look at this. I mean, it's Spiders or S&P 500 up 5.4%. NASDAQ almost 7%. The Dow was kind of a laggard. It was up 2.28%. So those are, month of May, the old saying of sell in May and go away. Generally, in election years, doesn't bode well for that saying. And this is again one of those years. Although, like April's supposed to be positive, and it was negative this year, so we had our selling there. As far as year to date, again, S&P is up 11, NASDAQ is up 10, and Dow is only up 2.83%. When we look at individuals for the month, we see on S&P 500 stocks, NVIDIA was a big winner, 32%. Apple was up 14%. And then we have Microsoft and Google and Meta. Then we go to other sectors like consumer defensive. Walmart was up, and the big company like Amazon was down for the month. So you see the divergence again. And then year to date, NVIDIA 121%, while Apple is completely flat. And then we see Amazon, Microsoft, Google, Walmart, Meta, they're all up nicely. And finally, when we look at the world markets, we see, again, we see the semiconductors for the month. Taiwan Semiconductor was up nicely. Again, ASML, that's another semiconductor. They were up nicely. So for the year to date, though, we see that, again, semiconductors were the big heroes when we look at internationally. So ARM, ASML, Taiwan Semiconductor, and then Toyota Motors up 19%, Nucor, from steel, 43%. So anyway, so that was our segment. Again, at the end of the month, I'd like to do that. So with that in mind, we'll go to our second segment. Thank you so much.